hello, my lovelies. It is me again on my own personal road to WrestleMania. We are watching WrestleMania 1 through 39 until we get to WrestleMania 40 in April 2024. What I realized on stream today is I have 23 weeks before WrestleMania 40 with 30 WrestleManias to go. This is something that I've always wanted to do, watch every WrestleMania consecutively. I was born in the 90s. I didn't watch a lot of these older WrestleManias, and just watching them in order, it just gives you a different flavor. It gives you a different feeling. Running out of time. Over on the Wrestling for Life Network, I did live react to WrestleMania 9. WrestleMania 9 is from 1993. It was Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas. I've been to Caesar's Palace. It is beautiful. They did not need to go this hard. It, off the top, it was like when that first big paycheck hits and you start just buying shit because you can. That's kind of what this ring and setup felt like to me. An ostrich, there was camels. I don't know. Start off WrestleMania 9, we got Tatanka versus HBK Shawn Michaels from the last WrestleMania 8, which is peak WrestleMania. WrestleMania 8 was the first singles WrestleMania match for HBK. This was his second against Tatanka. I'm gonna be straight matter of fact. This is not my favorite HBK match by any stretch of the imagination. A little lackluster for me. What made it interesting was we had Sensational Sherri in Tatanka's corner, and who came out with Shawn Michaels, one of my favorite women in pro wrestling. Where My Name Is From, Luna Vachon brings charisma for me. Luna Vachon in Shawn Michaels' corner and Sensational Sherri in Tatanka's corner. As we do know, at the previous WrestleMania, Sensational Sherri was in HBK's corner, but she turned on Shawn Michaels when previously to this WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels kind of used Sensational Sherri as a human shield when Marty Jannetty tried to hit Shawn Michaels over the head with a mirror. Shawn Michaels moved Sensational Sherri in front of him, so Marty ended up hitting Sensational Sherri. So at that Royal Rumble in 1993, Sensational Sherri turned on Shawn Michaels. So at this WrestleMania in April 4th, 1993, Sensational Sherri was in Tatanka's corner. So I really think Sensational Sherri, Luna Vachon, the women outside of the ring in this match were the real stars of this match, if we're going to be completely honest. This match also, I do want to say, was for the IC belt. Shawn Michaels was the defending IC champion at this WrestleMania. Tatanka ended up winning, but by count out, which is something that's kind of consistent through this WrestleMania, like DQs and count outs, and But then at the end of this match, Luna Vachon did end up choking out Sensational Sherri. I don't know. I think the women kind of stole this match because the Tatanka versus HBK, it just wasn't all that interesting to me. There were a few spots. It seemed to go on forever. This was the opening match for the IC belt, and it was like a 20-minute match. HBK is a show stealer in my mind. He looked phenomenal. The women were great, but I don't know. There was something off about this match for me personally. I want to rewind a little bit. It was done at Caesar's Palace. So we had a lot of Roman togas and everybody was dressed up in these togas to the announcer. One of the announcers in this WrestleMania was Macho Man Randy Savage, because allegedly at this point Vince McMahon said that he was too old to compete, even though he was 40, and so was Hulk Hogan at the time. But I digress. Macho Man was carried out. So an ostrich came to the ring and Bobby Heenan came out backwards on a camel. There was a lot of chaos. This match on the card was for absolutely nothing, but it was a tag team match. The Steiner brothers versus the Head Shrinkers. One of the Head Shrinkers was Fatu, aka Rashiki, so it was really cool to see him there. This match was okay. It was 14 minutes long. There wasn't a lot of meat and potatoes for this match to me. Also, the name the Head Shrinkers, not my personal favorite. This match fell kind of flat for me. I know the Steiner brothers are not my favorite tag team of all time. I wouldn't put them in my top 10, but I know what they could do in the ring, and this just fell very flat. Again, it was 14 minutes long. Tag team match. It was kind of just there. And then a match that got me a little bit excited, not because it was good, but because it was Crush versus Doink the Clown. There is just so much about Doink the Clown that makes me happy. This is the match that, you know, we got the iconic mirroring of the two Doinks. Doink did win this match. He defeated Crush by pinfall. This was another singles match. They had their previous back and forth Crush and Doink. But I mean, to just have this singles match, pretty much the start of the card, it was 8 minutes long. It felt like this whole match was just based around the whole pop of having the two Doinks. It was very cartoony. I love me a good clown. It was what it was. Having Doink there just made my heart happy, but it was a pointless 8-minute match. Now, this next match, another person that makes my heart happy. This is the WrestleMania debut of one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and that is Razor Ramon. Absolutely love me some Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. It was so nice to see him. He was up against Bob Backlund. Backlund, he is superstar in his own right, amazing heel. This man took Scott Hall. Scott Hall is a big dude. Bob Backlund kind of looks like Archie from the comics. You know which one I'm talking about. Seeing Bob Backlund put Scott Hall over his head and just carry him around the ring was definitely a cool thing to see. Bob Backlund got it. Awesome. This was another singles match, not for anything, and it was 3 minutes and 40 seconds long. There was a lot of short matches. You're starting to see a theme. A lot of people say this is the worst WrestleMania of all time. It's not something that I would go back and watch necessarily. I was like, it can't get any worse than this. It does. So the next match is for the Tag Team Championship belt. This is Money Inc. The tag team belts are being defended by Money Inc. against the Mega Maniacs, Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake. And I love Brutus Beefcake. So I was really hoping he would make this match okay. Putting all my eggs in Brutus Beefcake's basket. At one point, Money Inc. just decided to start walking up the ramp and leaving. Because if they get counted out, yeah, sure they lose, but they still get to keep their belts, right? Well, nay, nay, said the announcer. He said, if you guys walk out right now, you'll lose the match, you'll lose your belts. You got 10 seconds to get your asses back in here. They ran back in. At one point, the ref was knocked unconscious, and Jimmy Hart was there as well. He was the manager of the Mega Maniacs, so Hulk Hogan, Brutus Beefcake. Jimmy Hart turned his coat inside out and revealed that he was wearing like a ref jacket, but of course, like, you're not the ref. Like, that's not how that works. Jimmy Hart did the 1, 2, 3 and declared the Mega Maniacs the winners. But again, that's not how that works, Jimmy Hart. So now another referee came into the ring and disqualified Hogan for previously using Brutus Beefcake's face mask as a weapon. Money Inc. did win. So Brutus Beef was wearing a mask during this match because apparently he was in a parasailing accident previously to this. But also Hulk Hogan, the other man on his team, had a black eye. There's a lot of speculation to why this black eye happened. Jim Cornette has went on record on his podcast saying it was because Macho Man's girlfriend, Miss Elizabeth, ended up at Hulk Hogan's house in real life one night to stay with Linda Hogan because they were friends. I guess Elizabeth and Macho Man were fighting again. She went over to Hogan's house. Hogan didn't tell Macho Man that she was there, so they got into a fist fight backstage. And Macho Man punched Hulk Hogan in the face. And then other people say he was in a jet ski accident. It's like, just say you got punched in the face, okay, sir? So anyway, that whole match was just a hot boo-boo mess. There was disqualifications. There was people trying to leave the match. There was face masks being used as weapons. Jimmy Hart trying to cosplay as a ref. It was too much. Hulk Hogan, like, why do you have to be in everything? And it gets worse with him, trust me. So now we got another singles match that is a very short match. Another short match because everybody's matches got cut down to pretty much nothing because of what happens at the end, I guess. But this is a 10-minute, 11-minute match between Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect. I love me some Kurt Hennig. I love Mr. Perfect so much. Lex Luger I could do without, but I did really like, they called him the narcissist Lex Luger. I really liked his entrance with the women and the mirrors and it was very showboaty, and I actually really enjoyed this. He's good in the ring. He's got the narcissist little body. You know what? It was a pretty good match. The 10 minutes that they had. End of this match, Lex Luger did pin Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect's legs were up on the rope, but the ref didn't see them. Obviously, Mr. Perfect was a little bit PO'd. He chased Lex Luger backstage, but ended up getting attacked by Shawn Michaels. It was, again, they just threw everything at the wall for this WrestleMania, and I just didn't love it. Being said, Mr. Perfect, Lex Luger, for the 10 minutes that they had, was a little more entertaining than the other things on this card. Now, what I really want to talk about. This is when things get real bad. The Undertaker in his 3rd WrestleMania. We have The Undertaker with Paul Bearer, so I was happy right off the gate, against Giant Gonzalez. This is by far the worst match I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, I feel like I said that when we had a previous main event. This was WrestleMania 7? I think it was WrestleMania 7. It was Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter, WrestleMania 7. I absolutely hated that. But this takes the cake. Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez in a singles match that lasted 7 minutes, 33 seconds. We all know what the Undertaker streak is. At this point, he wins at every WrestleMania. Now, this one was kind of it was a messy win to the Undertaker. Giant Gonzalez, I guess, they're trying to make him look big and strong. They didn't want him to lose. I don't know. And at this point, I don't care. But Giant Gonzalez did come out with a manager. The manager of Giant Gonzalez, his name was Harvey Whippleman. Harvey Whippleman threw a rag that had chloroform on it to Giant Gonzalez. He used it on the Undertaker. The Undertaker was left unconscious. He was brought out of the ring, obviously, on a stretcher. But when he got backstage, the Undertaker did come back out and attacked Giant Gonzalez. Obviously, the Undertaker already won by disqualification because you can't just go chloroforming people. Giant Gonzalez, you already have the upper hand. You're 8 feet tall. What else do I have to say about this? This was a terrible match. Giant Gonzalez is not a good wrestler. The Undertaker, did what he could with what he had to work with. That's pretty much it. This match only lasted the 7 minutes and change. The next match, about 9 minutes long, was Yokozuna versus Bret Hart. Yokozuna came out with Mr. Fuji. I love me some Mr. Fuji, so thanks for joining us, Fuji. When I was growing up, Yokozuna was kind of my Hulk Hogan. When I thought about the WWE, when I thought about the WWF, that's who I thought about. I thought about Yokozuna. I love the man. Great in his own right, Was going up against Bret Hart. Bret Hart is defending the WWF Championship against Yokozuna. This match was okay. Some people in my life were saying that they loved this match. You let me know what you think about Yokozuna versus Bret Hart. Sometimes I feel like there's wrestling styles that are so different that sometimes you could bring them together, but when it comes to Yokozuna and Bret Hart, Yokozuna being, Yokozuna, and Bret Hart being, the very technical wrestler that he is, it wasn't the worst match on the card being at the 9 minutes. Comparatively to everything else on the card, it was all right. At the end of this match, Bret Hart did have Yokozuna in a sharpshooter, but of course Mr. Fuji, being Mr. Fuji, threw salt in the eyes of Bret Hart, which gave Yokozuna the opportunity to win Bret Hart. So there's a lot of DQs and funny business happening at this WrestleMania. But then, Hulk Hogan, thought I'd seen the last of him during this pay-per-view, previously with the Mega Maniacs and the tag belt situation. Oh, nay. Hulk Hogan did come out to check on Bret Hart and his situation. And previously on this WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan did state that he wanted to take on the winner of this match. But Mr. Fuji was like, hey, you're here checking on Bret Hart? Why don't you take on Yokozuna now? Come on. Hulk Hogan's already there. Hulk Hogan needs to be a part of the main event of WrestleMania. In 22 seconds, Hulk Hogan, the most devastating move in all of wrestling history, the leg drop. Leg drops Yokozuna and wins the title. at WrestleMania 9 in 22 seconds. There's a lot of speculation when it comes to this match. Like, Hulk Hogan didn't want to drop the belt to Bret previously. Bret didn't want to drop the belt, so they had like Yokozuna is this middleman transferring belt from Bret to Yokozuna back to Hulk Hogan. Hey, at WrestleMania at Caesar's Palace, Doink the Clown's WrestleMania, you're gonna pull this stunt? Okay. With the mirroring of the Doink the Clown situation, I think that is less ridiculous than the ending to this WrestleMania. It was a hard watch. Up to this point, that WrestleMania 4 is my least favorite, and I went into this WrestleMania saying the same thing, but man, no, I think this one takes the cake. WrestleMania 9, why you do thee to me? That is it for me for this week. Holy smokes, I am on WrestleMania 10 next week. I may be doing a double header next week. We'll see. I'm going to have to start speeding them up because, like I said at the beginning of my video, we have 30 WrestleManias, so I got to start pumping these. At WrestleMania 9, you let me know below what you think of this WrestleMania. Is it the worst of the worst? WrestleMania 9 has received a lot of negative reviews. I definitely can see why. So let me know what you think below. What is your least favorite WrestleMania up to this point? I will see you guys next week. Bye.